can we get it rounded up now? All right. So I mean, it was really funny how Manuel just asked you to connect that box, and none of you were ready to do that. Were you afraid, or you didn't trust him? I think it's something about trust, right? I mean, you weren't sure that he wasn't going to hack into your system or just pour some viruses in it. And I want you to know that this is one of the things that you always do. You always have to think about whether to trust someone or not. And my point today is, how really do you trust when there is no reason to trust? Now, how many people, let's start with this, watch Game of Thrones, be sincere. Let's know how many people have learned enough about deceptions and lies and all that. Yeah, okay, then you can connect better with this. Okay, so my name is Kehinde Fawumi. Many people call me Kenny, and I'm a consultant at Netlight Consulting. Let me just say very quickly that if you're the type that is very spontaneous and you're not comfortable with the norms, you just want something a bit different, then Netlight is just the right place to be. Okay, so if you just get in touch, and then yeah, we can get it all started. All right, so let's get to terms with it. How many people really find it hard? I mean, we trust easily. How many people you know that you trust so easily? Okay, let me ask it another way. How many people would read this before agreeing to it? Is that okay? All right. So none of us read this. So let me let you know first of all that the truth of the matter is that actually it's easy to just trust, except that sometimes it gets complicated. And this is the point. All of us at one point or the other, all of us at one point or the other have been hurt. Right? If there's someone here that you've been disappointed by one person at one point in time or the other, can I see your hand? Someone had disappointed you before. I mean, you've been hurt so deeply before. Okay, if you hurt someone before, if you're the type that made someone so angry before. Okay, let's get the audience right. Let's make it clear. The truth of the matter is that we all have reasons not to trust. As a matter of fact, I know that at some point you've been hurt, you've been disappointed, someone has deserted you. You've trusted someone so well and the person just brought you down. And you know, I was talking to someone recently as I was preparing for this speech. I was going through some things personally in my life. I know that at one point or the other, we will have reasons to not be able to trust someone else because we've been hurt at some point in time. But the question is it still possible to trust after you've been hurt? Is it still possible to trust at the same level after you felt disappointed? Is it still possible to really go on and just believe in someone and have faith in someone, in the same person that already stabbed you in the back? I mean, the funny thing is that you see, disappointment really don't come from your enemies. It would be easier if it's your enemy that betrayed you, but betrayal comes from the people you call friends. And this is how it happens. I mean, you know that guy there? If you watch, I asked if you really watch Game of Thrones, and I hope you're following with this. But this is it. It's important to trust. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to be really hard to lead a good life, to relate to people, to have a good career if you cannot trust. And if we get hurt every day, it naturally has a way of bringing down our trust level. And we need to trust. So how do we bridge that gap? How do we come up to a point where we really still can trust, despite the fact that we've been disappointed many times? How can we really still trust? They say trust is the glue that holds people together. Trust is really that fundamental value that really helps us to stay together and to achieve things as a team. And someone once said that it's better compliments to be trusted than to be loved. It's better compliments, and I think I agree with that. It says that it's better to be trusted than actually to be loved. All right, I tell you a very quick story. There's this scientist that tried an experiment with monkeys. So what he did was that in a cage he had 4 monkeys in it, and then he had a banana on top right there. So what happened was that when it had the 4 monkeys in it, they all jumped trying to reach to the banana up there. But what he did was that he had a pump with some very cold water. So when they jumped to a particular height, he just pumped the water on them, and then they went down again. And then they tried over and over again. And every time they got to a particular height, that was the water, the cold water pumping on them, and then they came down. And then he removed one of them, leaving 3 behind. And then he brought a fresh monkey that had no experience what had happened in there before. And then the new monkey just got in, and you see the 3 that already had that experience were already so afraid. They were just there because they knew that if they tried to reach to the banana, then they would come down again because of the cold water. And then the 4th new one came in and was really excited about the banana and was trying to go for it. And then something very remarkable happened, and this is it. When the new monkey that was introduced into the cage tried to reach up, the 3 others ran after it and then they pulled it down. And I imagine that in their mind they were trying to let him know that you don't understand. There's cold water up there and it's going to bring you down. And this is what I think about that. I feel that the fact that we've had some experiences in our lives in the past, what it does is that it brings our trust level down. And not only that, it helps us to teach other people how not to trust. And because you've been hurt before, then you can tell someone else that don't trust guys. They're all betrayers. They're all womanizers, if you can call them that. And I think that's the point. That's the big problem, that it's possible that what experience you had in the past brings down your trust level, and not just that, it helps you to bring down the trust level of other people. And that's the problem. I feel that what happens therefore is that when we have a bad experience in our lives, what it does basically is that we learn to hold on our trust. And what we try to do, we are very much protective, and then we watch people, and then we make them earn our trust before we give it to them. So what happens is that you hold on and trusting people, and then you watch them for a while, and after a while you decide whether now you can trust them or you cannot trust them. But it's as just saying that you're looking out for people that would never make mistakes. That's exactly what it means. It means you're looking for people that are so perfect, that are 100% trustworthy, that are 100% honest, that have a high level of integrity, and you would never find anybody like that. That's the problem. The problem is that you want people, because of the experience you've had before, you're now looking for honest people, perfect people. And asking someone to earn our trust is meaning that we are asking them to never make mistakes, and that's where the problem lies. Okay, so I'm just going to show you something right there. This is a 10 bill. No, that was supposed to come here. Okay, this is a 10 bill euro, right? And that is a 10 euro note, and that's the value, 10 bills. And I'm just going to try and squeeze it and crush it down. And my point being that it's possible that sometimes we get so disappointed and we get so squished out. Is it okay to just step on this? I'm not going to spoil it. It's fine. Don't be so paranoid about it. And that's the point. That many times you felt so disappointed. And how much still is this, everybody?
Still 10.
It's still 10. It did not reduce in value, and that's my point. The real truth is that the fact that you were disappointed, the event of your disappointment is actually not what brought down your value system, your trust level. What really brings down your value system is your action that is based on what happened. It was all in your mind. It's all about perspective. See, what happened was not what makes you to now distrust people. It is your interpretation to what things mean. It's all in your mind. It wasn't because of what happened. It wasn't that event in itself. It wasn't the stepping and the crushing of this that reduced the value. The value did not change. It's still the same thing. So you can still trust the way you've always trusted. If you choose another meaning to what things might mean. Let's talk about the mind. Let's talk about how things happen. I have the story of a weightlifter. His name is Alexei Vasily, and he was trying to break a record of 500 pounds. I don't know if you know about that. And then he had broken the record of 499. If the lift was labeled 1499, and then he could lift it easily. But as long as it's 500 pounds, he just couldn't lift it. I mean, for 6 months he tried to do that. So the trainer did something very remarkable one day. The trainer actually stacked 501.5 pounds on it. Remember, he couldn't lift 500 pounds. Now, the trainer stacked 501.5 pounds on it, and the label did 499. And Alexi Vasily came there and lifted it easily. Now, that's the problem. The issue was that, you see, the limitation was all in his mind. As long as it was labeled 499, he could lift it. But if the label reached something beyond that, he definitely couldn't lift it. So I began to think that, as a matter of fact, so much things happen, the decisions we make is so much about what our mind tells us about issues. So, for instance, someone betrayed you, and your interpretation to that means that the next person also is most likely going to betray you, but it's also always not like that. So that's the point there. That we must understand that if you are chosen to trust someone else, then it means that you're ready to accept the person as they are, that you're choosing to be vulnerable to the person. We must understand from the perspective that, as a matter of fact, trust is about you opening up all yourself. You're saying that I understand that things might go wrong, but I'm going to trust you anyway. I understand that things might happen that I would not like, but I'm choosing to be vulnerable in any case. You know, there was this story about this guy, Muhammad Ali, was asked one time that how many sit-ups does he do? And he says, I don't count my sit-ups, I only count them when it begins to hurt. And I feel that, you see, it actually counts when it hurts. It is when it hurts that it counts. I am of the opinion that, as a matter of fact, trust only makes sense. It only counts when you're trusting someone that is not trustworthy. That the whole essence of trusting someone is actually, it's easy. It takes a little effort to trust someone that you love so much. It takes a little effort to trust Hakim. I'm not saying that I love him per se, but I mean, okay, I do. But in a professional way. Okay, so it takes a little effort to trust someone that you love. And so the point of trust, in my opinion, is actually that it counts when you're trusting someone that is labeled not trustworthy. That it counts when it hurts. That it counts when it takes a little more effort from you to do it. And I feel that's the whole essence of trust. I must understand that you should trust. As a matter of fact, after you've been disappointed, that the true test of your trust level is that, have you been disappointed before? You say yes. Do you still trust? You say yes. Okay, then you trust. Like, have you been disappointed before? You say no. Like, do you trust? You say yeah. That's not what we're talking about. Okay, so this is what I think. Going through life, we should understand that the only way to actually see if we can trust people is to trust them. Right, so when you try to say that, can I trust this guy? You really can never know until you trust the person, right? I mean, the only way to trust, to determine if someone is trustworthy is you just try to trust the person. See if he dupes you, I mean, if he dupes you right now, he's not trustworthy. But that still doesn't mean, I feel that we shouldn't stop trusting irrespective of what happens. I feel that we're too quick at some points to judge everybody, to have a single story about everybody based just on one or two few simple experiences that we've had before. And I just feel that as students, you should really, really know that in the professional system, in the professional world, it would really matter how well you're able to trust people, how well you're able to. I must say that Netlight is built strongly on trust, and it works perfectly. I was talking to one of you a while ago. The truth of the matter is that what really holds us together, what brings us, what makes us a true network organization is that we could trust ourselves, Maybe we had marveled at that saying that goes like, there is no boss here, you don't have a boss, nobody has a boss. How really does it work? It's that we're able to trust one another. And as I just round it up, because then my MacBook is also telling me it's totally fine, we're going to finish it now anyway. Okay. Trust is therefore not about finding a trustworthy person. It's about signing up to say that even when it hurts, we're still going to go on with it. that even when it does not make sense to trust, we are still going to trust. And I feel that the level of trust you give to a person actually is can be reciprocated. That people always come to the level of your expectation of them, and that's what I strongly believe. So as we begin to round it up, I just want to say, I just have one single message that it doesn't matter what experience you've had in the past. It doesn't matter how well you've been just beaten down. You should understand that your value did not change. You should understand that your level of trust, as a matter of fact, doesn't change. What will change it is your interpretation to what things mean. What will change it is your mindset about what really can happen going forward. And you shouldn't judge others based on one single experience you've had in the past. So that's the point. Keep trusting. Don't stop trusting. Have faith in people, especially those that do not have faith in themselves.